In just a few days in June, about 100 public and private sector organizations rallied to form the Pittsburgh G20 Partnership to welcome the world to our region. Along with Allegheny County and the city of Pittsburgh, the other two founding partners and co-chairs were the Allegheny Conference, the co-producer of this program, and Visit Pittsburgh. While the public sector focused on public safety and public works, the private sector focused on welcoming our guests in style and getting the word out to the world about Pittsburgh. And now that we're back on the global map, how do we capitalize on it? Well, here to answer that question are Dennis Yablonsky, the CEO of the Allegheny Conference, and Joe McGrath, President and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh. And welcome. Good to see both of you.
Good morning, Bill.
And congratulations. What a week for Pittsburgh.
Great week. Just tremendous week. I think everything couldn't have gone much better than it did, and I think we showed the world exactly what Pittsburgh is capable of doing.
Joe, you've been in the marketing, you've been marketing this region for years and years. This has to have been one of the sort of the pinnacle of opportunity in that respect.
It really was. We've been very fortunate over the last decade to host Inc. 500 and Fortune 500, and Dan mentioned some of the sports spectaculars recently, but this really is an opportunity to talk to the world through their leaders and talk about what Pittsburgh really has to offer.
Dennis, I know you spent a lot of time in the convention center, talking to the media for those couple. There was a lot of interest in Pittsburgh right up until, I guess, they gathered for the group photo on Friday.
I think that's right, and we had, as you said, Bill, we had media from all over the world, virtually every major outlet you could think of, all asking the same two questions. Why Pittsburgh? And what have you done to transform your economy and your environment and your quality of life over the last 30 years? And we willingly told that story over and over again, and I think it's going to reap benefits for years to come.
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned some of the other things, the sports especially. You don't get the interest in sort of the broad nature of the Pittsburgh story necessarily. This was really an unusual opportunity because of what they wanted to know about.
Exactly. It really translated to what we are as a community. It talked about the high tech, it talked about education, medical, all the transformation. And what people tend to forget is that this was really a meeting, a convention. And we've passed that hurdle that we run up against so often with customers and potential customers, and that is Pittsburgh glamorous enough for my group? And I think we've answered that question. Second question there is, can you handle us? And I think we've passed that test too.
So, yeah, how do you in the convention and tourism business, how do you leverage what just happened here?
Well, I think we're going to make a concerted effort, again, with the partnership to solicit some funds, to continue to tell the story, to make sure that it doesn't go away, because that's going to be the challenge, is that we don't want to be yesterday's news. We have a great story to tell, and we need to continue to tell it.
Now, from the economic development standpoint, Dennis, is this going to translate into any deals?
I think so. We've already had inquiries literally in this past week from companies who've been watching the coverage of the G20 and the Pittsburgh story who've said, this is very interesting. I didn't know all these things about Pittsburgh. I need to come and talk to you about one of our expansion projects. So we're going to get some, reaction from people on their own, but we're not going to just stop there. I mean, the conference is planning through its marketing efforts to go out proactively to not only reinforce the people that we're already working with about what a great place Pittsburgh is, but to target some people that we haven't talked to before, using some of the materials and the messages that came out. So I absolutely believe that our pipeline and in the end deals that we'll get will be positively affected by this.
We even seem to have picked up a Korean car company along the way in the midst of it all.
That was a great announcement in the middle of the week. That deal's, I think, been in progress for a while, but certainly having the summit here and having them come out and make an announcement during the summit, I'm sure that helped.
Does the phone start to ring in the convention business as well when something like this happens?
Actually, it does. Similarly, we've had some people that we've talked to in the past that have said, no, thank you, but no thank you, and now they're very interested in talking to us. They want to follow on the glow and have their attendees see what it was that the world leaders saw.
It's on balance, and obviously, downtown was slow on Thursday and Friday. There's no question. A lot of retail street level businesses lost business. The overall ROI on this going to be dramatic enough to offset the sacrifice that some folks had to make?
I really believe so. Certainly the security companies, the transportation companies, the hotels had banner times. And actually some of the business that would normally be downtown was displaced to the region. So I don't think it was a loss of business. There was a displacement temporarily. But I think that 2 days of investment are going to pay off handsomely, not only to corporate relocations, which are going to bring jobs and bring new revenue and spending dollars, but certainly to the tourism and convention business.
Dennis, only about 15, 20 seconds left, but as a lifelong Pittsburgher, I mean, and somebody involved in this whole project. What did it feel like to suddenly see this day for Pittsburgh?
I couldn't have been more proud. I mean, to be a part of this in a small way, but to see the way the world was now viewing and writing about my home, I couldn't have been more proud, and I hope the rest of Pittsburgh felt the same way.
All right, Dennis Yablonsky from the Allegheny Conference, Joe McGrath, Visit Pittsburgh. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, Bill.
And we'll be back in a minute with a final thought on the Pittsburgh Summit.